A snake. I can't help it, but they make my feathers stand on end.
To be honest, gentlemen, your visit is anything but a surprise. I could even say I was expecting it.
What an introduction.
Please forgive me. I have the bad habit of immediately getting into the middle of things. How very rude of me. My name is Dr. Sessuus Quetzalcoatl, but most call me Dr. Quetzal to keep it simple.
The name is Santino Featherland, and this is my partner, Martin McChicken, from
the Predatory Division of the Clawville Police Department. Your fame is one step ahead of you.
We're used to it.
Certainly.
We have some questions about one of your patients, if you don't mind. We'd like to talk to him, if that's possible.
Please be specific, Detective.
Look, Doctor, we're too tired to play cat and mouse. Not that snake and chicken sounds any better.
Very funny, I must say. Just what I expected from you two detectives.
We know you know it's about Albert Wessler, Ibn Wessler's secret twin. Ever since we've said his name, all the doors have miraculously opened. That's what we call a bullseye.
Well, yes. Why should I deny it? We're talking about a rather illustrious patient here, who's also a very particular medical case.
Now, that's much more interesting. So, are you willing to talk about him?
Because Albert, regrettably, has disappeared, and you are police detectives, I have no reason not to talk to you. Of course, I'm at your service, but you must understand I can't disclose information about my patients.
Not even if it's a matter of life and death?
Everything's a matter of life and death in here, Detective. This is a hospital, even if it's primarily for the mind, not the body.
Still, I'd like to give the impossible a try.
Please, Detective, just do your job, and I'll do mine. So, what do you want to know, gentlemen?
Let's see. How long was Albert a resident of the institution?
For quite some time. His first symptoms surfaced in his teens. Depression, panic attacks, and schizophrenia.
Was he brought here immediately after the first signs that something wasn't right?
You know, the biggest problem with an opinion on insanity is that animals are ashamed of it. That's the reason our institution stands out here in the middle of nowhere.
Because animals would rather hide what they're afraid to face.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
As far as I know, the Wessler family wasn't exceptionally wealthy.
Indeed, they were rather poor, but we offer our services gratis.
Then how do you sustain yourselves?
By the grace of the treasury of King Hector III, of course.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
My family and the royal dynasty had always been on good terms, Mr. Santino.
What kind of a place is this exactly? I assume it wasn't built as an insane asylum.
It used to be a mansion. Construction started during the occupation in 622. Then it stood empty for almost a century until finally...
What kind of a place?
It used to be a mansion. Construction started during the occupation in 622. Then it stood empty for almost a century until finally it went to the crown of Clawville when Hector's great-grandfather took the throne. The rest is history.
How long have you been working here?
I've worked here for more than 30 years, but it's been in my family's possession for almost 150 years.
So if I count correctly, as soon as it went to the crown, it was seized by your family.
That's almost accurate, Mr. Featherland.
What a lovely inheritance. Tell me, Doctor, do you know Madame Zavas?
Just like everybody else, I've heard of her, but I never had the pleasure of meeting her in person. I'm sure she's an interesting case.
Oh, you can be sure about that. I'd gladly get you two together if I had the chance. A spare cell would suit her very much.
Is that so?
As it turns out, she likes small, narrow, secret places.
Oh, I see. What a coincidence.
Dr. Quetzal's a real mystery. But I can turn that to my advantage. I just need to focus on the strangest pieces of the puzzle. So when did Albert become a resident of your institute?
Albert and Hobart, or Ibn as you call him, arrived here almost exactly 4 years ago.
Could you describe that day more specifically?
It was not long after New Year's Eve, maybe the first week of the year, if I'm not mistaken. It was sleeting that day. Wind was banging incessantly on the windows. The power was going out for short periods of time.
What was your first impression of them?
I already knew the Wessler name. I knew who they were. Or at least I knew one of them, Hobart Wessler. He was famous. Gangster, moneylender, celebrity, lover.
And Albert?
He was new to me, an invisible gray ghost. The family had tried to keep his existence a secret.
Why?
Because they were ashamed of him, of course, Mr. Featherland. That's how it usually is.
What was your first impression of him?
He was silent, but observed everything that surrounded him. His eyes were constantly moving, never stopped for a second.
Was he afraid?
I wouldn't say so. It seemed to me that he wanted to move into our institution voluntarily. It looked as if he couldn't wait to be here, alone, locked up in silence and darkness.
Didn't you think of that as unusual?
Of course I did, but who am I to judge? It was rather special treatment.
What kind of special treatment did Albert get?
You know, if an institution like ours has to accept a Wessler as a guest, there's bound to be some favoritism.
And complete secrecy, I guess.
Yes, but that's the case for all our patients, Mr. Featherland.
Of course. So in what way did he receive more than the others?
Basically, we don't admit anyone into our institution without a complete and thorough prior assessment. In the case of Albert, we put that aside.
So you didn't even know if he had anything wrong with him?
Initially, no. He was more of a guest than a patient.
How did you see Albert when you first met?
Albert was shy and reserved, like a ghost. He almost never touched anything. It was evident he was exceptionally intelligent. He measured and observed everything around him.
What else?
He was delicate and graceful, almost like a woman. Yes, he was rather feminine. He was an artist, Mr. Featherland, a magnificent painter, and rather good writer, too. Sometimes I even heard him sing.
Why did he have to be locked up?
I asked the same thing at first.
Are you telling me Albert had multiple personalities?
We found out very quickly that there was no other reason for the cause of his seizures. He had a cold and calculating personality who sometimes, especially on stormy days, took the reins over their shared mind.
He had these seizures from the beginning.
Yes, Mr. Featherland, but they started to intensify after Albert left our institution for the first time.
He did what? Left the institution? More than once?
Oh, yes, Mr. Featherland. Albert left the institution on several occasions until the last time, when he failed to come back.
Quetzal's not only very observant, but he's addicted to details. I must focus on that if I want to get closer to the truth. Focus. Addicted to details. When and why did Albert leave the institution for the first time?
It was about 2 years ago. Mr. Hobart Wessler appeared and demanded we let his brother go free. Naturally, we obliged. We had no idea if we'd ever see him again.
But you did.
He returned the same day. Albert was ecstatic. He was unrestrained. I could almost say happy.
That was unusual for him?
I had never seen him like that before, Mr. Featherland. He just smiled and stared at the empty wall for hours.
Did he ever tell you what happened to him outside?
Of course he did. Albert and I had a good relationship. He was working on a painting for his brother.
Was it a painting of a lovely lady cat?
Oh, exactly. So you already knew about that.
Yes, Dr. Quetzal, I've seen it. Has Albert ever talked to you about Natasha?
Only in superlatives, as if he wasn't talking about a real person, but an ethereal being, about an angel or a demon, something that is not of this world.
And what did you think about his fantasies?
We are in an institution where almost everyone is hallucinating on a daily basis, Mr. Featherland. It didn't really bother me, but the fluctuations of positive and negative were more disturbing.
Thanks, Doc. I didn't understand a word, but I think I get the point. So Albert left on many occasions to continue working on the painting.
Exactly, Mr. Featherland. Every time he came back, he was like a different person. But unfortunately, his seizures also multiplied and became more dangerous.
More dangerous.
Albert was hurting himself, and on one occasion he even tried to hurt me. It was unprecedented. It seemed his confined personality was taking over their shared mind entirely, piece by piece.
Do you think the painting caused it?
Not the painting, Mr. Featherland.
But its subject.
Exactly. He was obsessed, right until that fateful day when he returned to us for the last time.
What exactly happened that day, Doctor?
It wasn't Hobart who brought his brother back that day, but two of his gorillas. Not literally, I mean. And Albert was in a terrible, terrible state.
What happened to him?
I don't like to talk about that, Mr. Featherland.
It could be vital to the case, Dr. Quetzal. Don't back down.
Oh, you're right. There's no use turning back now. So, Albert's tongue was torn out, or cut off, I don't know exactly, and he was blinded in one eye, or rather, one of his eyes was missing entirely.
So you're saying Albert was brought back horribly mutilated?
Yes. And they didn't give any explanation as to what had happened. They simply told me it was some kind of accident.
Dr. Quetzal is cold and professional, but he's also very confused. Maybe it's cruel, but I must exploit his vulnerability if I want to learn everything about Albert. Focus, confused. Maybe it's not easy for you to talk about it, but did you examine his wounds thoroughly?
I'm not that kind of doctor, Mr. Featherland, but even I could determine his tongue was either cut out or bitten off, and his eye was gouged out. He also had several broken bones.
But there's no doubt it wasn't an accident.
I don't believe it was, Mr. Featherland.
I totally agree. Pull yourself together, Doctor. What was Albert's condition after the incident?
Mind your tone, Detective.
Sorry, Doc, but I can see you're disturbed by these memories.
How could I not be? I'm not a monster. We're talking about a mutilated animal here.
So, what was he like after the incident?
Even more silent than ever. No surprise, I suppose. He was not only silent in words, but also in his soul and spirit.
What do you mean by that?
He never painted anything again, and his seizures completely stopped.
What happened then? How did Albert disappear?
A few weeks later, Hobart came to visit Albert one more time. Albert had been in terrible condition by then. We even had to transfer him to another cell, a more safe one.
What did Hobart do during the visit?
He didn't do anything. He just sat and watched his brother, who was in an almost vegetative state by then.
Couldn't you manage to draw anything out of him? You or Hobart?
Nothing. For a while, he was trying to signal something. Perhaps he was too afraid. And most likely his fingers had been broken too, so he couldn't even write.
Do you think Hobart could have killed Albert?
It's horrible to say it, but I'm sure of it.
How did he disappear in the end? Did someone come for him?
That's what's most eerie about it all, Mr. Featherland. He simply disappeared. His door, which only I had a key for, was open.
Did anyone see anything?
No one. We interrogated the staff, even the patients. He simply vanished off the face of the wilderness. We don't know what happened to him.
Unfortunately, I have a hunch. Thank you, Doctor. You've been a great help.
Oh, well, I'm glad I could be of help. But please, I now must attend to my work.
We understand, Doctor. Thank you. That's quite shocking information.
I think you understand why we kept it a secret. If it wasn't for Mr. Wessler's demand, we'd never let any of our patients walk freely outside our institution.
Then the accident happened.
Accident? Ha! We didn't believe it, not for a second. After Albert came back to us, horribly mutilated, he was different.
Different how?
If someone got one of his eyes poked out and his tongue torn out, he'd be different, but not like this. Albert was a different person.
We believe you, Doctor. So, can we take a look at Albert's cell?
I'd rather call it his room. Mr. Wessler lived in exceptional circumstances.
Thanks to the Wessler name, I guess.
Yes. Well, we try to make all of our patients stay as comfortable as possible, but Albert certainly enjoyed special favoritism.
I hope you don't mind if we take a look around in there.
That's not going to bother anyone.
Well, that's, surprising.
I've never seen a cell like this before, that's for sure. I wouldn't mind living here myself.
It seems that being a Wessler gets you privileges.
And a healthy dose of danger.
Mostly that, yeah. Let's take a good look around. I'm sure we'll find some answers here. I can almost smell them.
Well, I smell paint, ink, plaster, some kind of oil, aging paper, slight smell of rat, and great expectations.
What the dickens?
Unmistakable. Yeah.
This place is bad for you, pal. But if you've already jump-started your beak holes, then sniff out the solution.
I'm on it, Boss Bird. You know, I don't think he had it so bad in here.
You mean apart from being separated from everyone you love in an ancient mansion filled with madmen?
You're right.
As always. Well, I guess the bed has to find a new owner soon.
Are you really so sure he's not alive anymore?
I never said that. Well, I guess the bed... The style. It's very familiar to me.
You've been lonely for far too long, huh?
Not funny, Marty.
It is, a little. So this is an original Albert Weßler.
I think so. It's pretty good, I must say. And I saw something very similar in Natasha's room.
You kept me out of it.
Sorry, little boy. Maybe next time.
Whew, it's hot in here.
Okay, Marty, that's enough.
Whew, it's... No way! Is this some kind of puzzle?
I don't think so. But we could still find something important here. A pattern, a sign, anything. A small window, a small hope. Scribbles, newspaper articles, study papers, poems, perfect chaos.
Just like the troubled mind of a troubled fella.
Yeah, but there's still a kind of order in it. It's just too intricate for you to comprehend.
If you say so, boss. Isn't this familiar, Sonny? Just like your office and your desk. Taking a better look around, I can find even more similarities.
Marty.
Okay. Shut up, Marty. I know. Isn't this familiar, Sonny? Just like...
Identical twins. And looking at it, they may have easily loved the same woman. 2 men and 1 woman. Nothing good ever comes of that.
Well, I wouldn't say that exactly.
Of all the wild ones, Marty, please, stitch up your beak, okay?
Just use your imagination, old bird.
Look at that. A letter. Identical twins. And looking at it, they may have easily loved the same woman. Albert was madly in love with Natasha and would have done anything for her. I'm afraid he did exactly that. Albert was madly in... What do you make of this?
Apart from the fact the guy was totally insane? I don't know. What should I?
That maybe we've been chasing the wrong person all this time, Marty.
What do you mean?
Everything will be revealed soon.
Why do you have to be so melodramatic all of a sudden?
If I'm right, this'll flip the whole case upside down.
What's that, Sonny? A blurb from some horrible novel?
I just have to think things through before I come to any hasty conclusions, Marty.
Ugh, you're killing me. So, what now? Where to?
Back to Clawville, where we can finally put all the pieces together.
You're driving me crazy. But all right, let's go home.
I have a hard time bearing their proximity. My blood boils and my heart bangs. It's the primordial fear, they say.
So, detectives, have you found what you were looking for?
I'm afraid we have, Doctor. And more.
I wouldn't dare to say I'm happy to hear it, but I'm glad to be of service to you.
Well, thanks, Doc.
I hope I don't offend you by saying I hope we're not going to meet anytime soon.
Not on account of either of our jobs, am I right?
Exactly.
Goodbye, Doctor.
Goodbye, detectives.
What can you tell us about the woman in the photo we saw in Albert's room?
Do you mean Miss Natasha Katsenko? Well, yes. I don't know much about her, but everyone heard her name and her voice around here.
Did she ever visit this place?
Never. But if you ask me, Natasha probably didn't even know Albert was a resident of our institution.
And Albert, did he mention her often?
Constantly. It was obvious he had an affection for Miss Katsenko, but I wouldn't have thought for a moment he could escape because of her.
I wouldn't jump ahead, Doctor. Something else could be behind Albert's disappearance.
Do you think so? All the signs clearly indicate this.
Maybe they do, Doctor, but in my line of work, logic's not always the best advisor.
In 99% of cases.
Exactly. But this one typically belongs to the remaining 1%.
If you say so.
Are you very busy?
I am.
So, escape. Farewell, Miranda, dear. Lovely to meet you.
So, you'll remember my name?
Marty McChicken never forgets, ma'am.
Oh,
Furry gods. Let's go. Goodbye, miss. It was a pleasure.
goodbye, gentlemen, and happy investigating.
I'm sure it'll be fun.
If there's anything I can help you with, please just ask.
Thank you, Miranda. You've already helped enough.
Please, I'm at your service.
Thank you, miss.
What do you think? Can she hear?
It doesn't matter.
We need to let them know we're here first.
Oh, I don't believe this. Those two again?
Take them out. My car won't last much longer.
Don't worry, Sonny. I was born to do this.
Concentrate, Marty, for the God's sake.
Can you drive like you're not a fucking lunatic?
Shut up and shoot, you big feather pillow. Where did you learn to shoot?
Whew. Well, that was close.
A little too close for my taste, and it only strengthens my belief. Wessler is desperate. He knows if we survive, he's done for.
Well, come on, what did you work out? Will you tell me already?
Sure. Let's put the picture together, piece by piece. Let's start from the beginning. So, we got a case. Natasha tried to show us the painting. And that painting would have shown us the way. To Ibn and Albert Wessler. Albert painted Natasha, so he met her on more than one occasion. Which made Albert and on a fateful night, he killed his brother so he could take his place in secret and win Natasha's heart.
So what happens now?
The inevitable, Marty. We're going to the Wessler mansion to confront Ibn with the facts.
You mean Albert, right?
Yeah, exactly. And of course, Natasha.
Do you think she knew about it?
Something stinks, Marty. The whole case seems too intricate.
Too many coincidences, right?
Well, after 10 years, you did learn something, didn't you?
9.
You're right.
Huh.
What?
You just laughed, Sonny.
What? No, I snorted.
No, you laughed.
Ah, just leave it, Marty.
I'll be telling this to my grandchicks.
All right, pal, that's enough.
Okay. So, Albert fell madly in love with Natasha and decided to have her for himself.
And his best chance was to trade places with Ibn Wessler.
So that's why the torn-out tongue.
Yeah, Ibn couldn't squeal even if he wanted to.
What a diabolical plan.
More like insane.
But why the messages then? Why the threats? Albert got what he wanted. He could have got away with it.
I'm not a psychologist, Marty, but remember what the doctor told us. Albert has a seriously injured mind and a split personality. I think his two identities were at war with each other.
So the messages were written by one of his personalities, consumed by jealousy?
Something like that, Marty. But we can only learn the whole truth from him.
You're right. So, are we going or what?
We're going, Marty, to finally finish what we started.
Well, if there's anything you'd like to do before, do it now, boss. You won't have a chance later.
You're right, Marty. It's time to wrap everything up.
This fog's almost impenetrable.
Strange, but somehow this time I feel it's a good omen.
Really? How come?
I don't know. It's like the light at the end of the tunnel without the light.
Oh, you're not getting ready to die, are you, old man? If we're going on a suicide mission, I think I should know.
Why, haven't I told you yet?
You're not funny.
The city seems almost clean this time. Silent. Mute. Not of this world.
Good gods. You're really getting ready to die, aren't you?
I'm just messing with you, Marty. Relax.
Yeah, thanks. Very relaxing. Into the unknown, right?
Like you say, partner.
Into the I see we're ready.
You'll need a shotgun for this kind of deal, Marty. Maybe even that won't be enough.
Nothing to fear while Bertha's here. Even less because you're here too with Mr. Sinclair, of course.
Should I cry?
That would be nice for a change. If our theory's correct, this photo will hurt more than a bullet.
That's the plan.
If our theory's correct,
That's the plan.
do you think that'll be enough?
Enough evidence. Not in the slightest. That's why we go unannounced.
And with big guns.
Exactly.
I like this new Sonny.
There is no new Sonny. Just the old ones had enough.
You think you'll need your fake badge?
I never needed a badge, Marty.
What a punchline.
It's more like a kind of good luck charm. It reminds me of who I should be.
And? Does it work?
No, Marty, not really.
You think you'll need... If we survive this, can we crack this open?
I'd rather keep it for a really special occasion.
You're saying I'm not special enough?
I was joking. If we survive this, we'll drink it to the last drop.
Now you're talking. It's a little outdated, but I understand why you're so attached to it.
It can pierce the skin of a rhino, Marty, and the rust brings back memories. I'm a man of bad habits.
You know, sometimes I feel like I'm one of your bad habits.
Rest assured, Marty, you are.
Ah, Her Majesty Bertha II.
My drumstick still hurts every time I see her.
Be glad you're alive. Bertha rarely leaves witnesses.
I never thought I'd ever look at this place and think of it as home.
Life's weird, isn't it? I didn't think that after what I did to you, we'd work together again.
You mean when you shot me?
You know I had my reasons, Sonny.
Yeah. Have I ever, apologized?
I don't think so.
Then let's leave it that way.
Hey, I apologize for shooting you, Boss Bird.
That's okay, Marty. It happens even to the best of friends.
I'll remember what you've just said, and I'll never forget it.
Yeah? Well, don't try to take advantage of it.
Who, me? What do you think of me? Relax, soldier. It'll be fine.
Huh? Well, why do you say that?
You were staring at that building so hard, I thought you could use some encouragement.
Are you shitting me? You're enjoying this, aren't you?
Not at all.
I have feelings too, you know.
I never said otherwise.
Farewell, my lovely. Do you remember that case with the goat?
Which one?
When that demented wolf devoured the kids of a young goat mother, and in revenge, she cut open his stomach and filled it with rocks.
Do I remember? I'll never forget it. Hell, that was a slaughterhouse. As far as I know, she even took the remains of the kids with her. But how did that come to mind?
This was that shop. The goat mother was running it. They found the dead wolf in here.
This? This one exactly? Good gods.
Yeah, before it was closed down, when there was still some life here. Not even that now, just the void.
Yeah, spooky place, that's for sure.
Still, I love to live here.
Sonny, you're creepy. Eesh, Just looking at the window gives me the creeps.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. The shop used to be open for a while, even after the incident. One of the goat's relatives was running it until someone from the dead wolf's family tried to burn it down.
Oh yeah, that's funny. Eesh, just looking at the window gives me the creeps.
Yeah. You know, it hurts even to think about it. But without this feather duster, it wouldn't have worked.
Look, Sonny, I think if we go now, there's no turning back. Not today, at least. So, are you ready?
I'm still thinking about it, Marty.
Look, Sonny, I think if we go now... I just realized. Ibn at the Tsar Club.
Yes, Marty. Albert's been Ibn for a long time now. Do you remember what Natasha said about him?
That he's been acting strange recently?
Exactly. Like he's not himself anymore.
It was almost hitting us in the face, huh?
Don't blame yourself, Marty. We couldn't have figured that out just by ourselves. The whole story's too twisted for that.
Well, it's how we make our living, Sonny. And I'm sure we'll have plenty more twisted cases to come.
Who knows, Marty? It's not up to us. It's mostly not up to us, in fact.
Yeah, right. Do you think the asylum was in on it? I mean, covering up Albert's disappearance?
You know that reptiles give me the creeps. One of them even set fire to that ship. But oddly enough, the doctor seemed honest to me.
He seemed like a patient to me. Seriously, I thought everyone was crazy in that place.
Yeah. Whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process, he doesn't become a monster.
Are you still talking about the doctor?
Good question.
So, what's the plan? We shove the letter and our theory in his face and see what happens?
Something like that, Marty. I think our presence will be enough for the truth to come out.
I really hope you're right, Boss Bird.
We have no other choice. So I hope so too.
Do you think it's a love triangle? I mean, could Natasha love Albert as well?
Good question, Marty. But I don't think so. When I first spoke to Natasha, she told me she loved Ibn in her own way.
In her own way, huh? And could she love two rats in her own way?
Maybe. Maybe she even suspected the truth, but didn't dare admit it, even to herself.
So, what do you think now that it's clearer?
I don't know, Marty, but I believe Natasha didn't mean to be bad. Not intentionally, at least.
I'm not as sure of that as you are, boss. But we'll find that out pretty soon, I guess.
I think Natasha was very much aware that wherever she goes, disaster follows her. But it's not her fault, and she can't do anything about it. There are people like that.
Really? You don't say. Someone remarkably similar came to mind right now.
You mean me, right?
Who can even read minds?
Maybe you're right, Marty. Maybe you're right.
Louis became kinda part of the team in the end, didn't he?
You mean Leopold?
Ah, damn it. Did I mess that up again?
No, I'm just joking. You said it right this time.
Huh. You know, if it weren't for the bunny, we never would have made it this far.
We can't deny that even if we want to. We owe him a lot.
You know, if it were...
Hey, Louis. You weren't awake all night because of us, were you?
I've never been this excited, Sonny. Seriously, it is a great honor to be part of the team. What is it?
You, Lewis, you don't stutter anymore.
What?
Just now, you didn't stutter. Not even a little.
Oh, I must be exhausted. It happens sometimes.
And it's back.
So, thanks again, Lewis. You always get us out of trouble.
Come on, boys. Don't even mention it. It is me who is grateful to be part of an adventure of the chicken police.
Maybe the last one, too.
Hey, Sonny. Don't spoil his mood. He's so cute.
Pardon?
Nothing.
So, you're going now to confront Mr. Whistler?
We have no other choice, Lewis. We're gonna see it through to the end. We've already come this far.
You're brave, gentlemen. I'm honestly impressed.
Well, the rabbit's onto something.
This isn't about money. Not about courage or pride either. It's simply...
Stubbornness.
mostly, yeah.
Well, good luck, guys.
Thanks, Lewis. We could use some luck, that's for sure.
Did you forget anything, Sonny?
No, I just thought I'd take a look. Might be the last time I see it.
You becoming sentimental?
Who knows? Maybe I am.
Oh, that's cute.
Should I say it?
I know, Sonny. I can still get out.
But you won't.
On the beak.
Thanks, pal.
Forget about it. I'd be bored to death otherwise.